Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining me and watching my video. I want to thank you all. I want to thank my partners in front of you all, Worth and Courtney. They were very flexible, very easygoing. They did the beginning of the project. I'm going to be wrapping us all up with this advertising and promotion for the Super Bowl of 2020 between the San Francisco and Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in. So you'll have already gotten a couple updates from them. I'm sure you've covered a little bit of what's trending. I'm going to cover just a little dabble of it. We're not going to go too deep into it. It's just something I thought was interesting. Then we're going to talk about advertising promotion, sponsors, and successful visibility. Okay, we're going to be discussing a lot about that. Lastly, I've included my email here. If you'll have any questions, please feel free to email myself, Courtney, or Worth. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions. So I'm going to go ahead so this is our what's trending slide. I chose this slide because I chose this Allegiant Stadium because it really interested myself. I'm a big fan of Star Wars. I don't know if you've all noticed that or really knew that about me, but this Allegiant Stadium has been kind of described as what's looking like the Death Star. I kind of have to agree with that. I think it looks very tasteful the way that they did it. So Allegiant Stadium, for you those that don't know, it's the new Raiders Stadium. It's located in Las Vegas. I think that this stadium, the way that they build it, how cool it looks, is perfect for this spot. Allegiant did a really good job being that sponsor because they're going to get a lot of people are going to be able to see it. It's very visible. I added this little video. You can watch it. I'm not going to play it. It's a couple minutes long. It's a little video of somebody driving by, and you can see the stadium clear as day. They've just incorporated the lights on it. It was like a really big project, $1.9 billion put into this stadium. The lights make it just look so much better, and I think that Vegas could not have been a more perfect spot for this stadium. So if you like that, I've included the link on here. You can go ahead and check it out yourselves. There we go. So we're going to move on to the sponsors here. As you can see, I've incorporated some of these pictures. Most of you all know what these are, I would assume. We have Head & Shoulders. We have Oakley, Nike, Bose headphones, insurance, State Farm, Bud Light, and last but not least, this Amazon Prime. So Thursday Night Football is included if you have Amazon Prime. So I just wanted to go over a couple of these sponsors. So sometimes when you see a commercial or a sponsor for a certain sport, you wouldn't think that like sponsor would go hand in hand with that. But I found it very interesting. For example, for me, it was like you wouldn't think that a shampoo company would really want to be, I personally wouldn't think that a shampoo company wanted to be associated with football, but it makes sense because after you've played really hard, had a long sweaty day, you need a reliable shampoo, body wash, things like that to clean up afterwards. So I thought that was very interesting. We're going to move on to that next slide. There we go. So what do these sponsors advertise and promote? So I just showed you a bunch of those pictures of all the sponsors. When you look at them, most of the time it's top of mind. You know exactly who they are, what they sponsor, what their brand is, things like that. So over here I have a list of all, not all of the sponsors, but all the ones that I thought I wanted to incorporate in here and that caught my eye. And then I found this very interesting information of commercial time that these sponsors have for the Super Bowl. During the Super Bowl. So I think commercials are my favorite thing to watch. The only time I ever watch commercials are Super Bowl and those little pesky ones that are in between my YouTube videos that I don't really care to watch. So I think investing, if your company has the money to invest in a Super Bowl commercial, then you should do it, whether it's for a couple seconds or not. I remember one commercial, and sorry, I'm getting a little off topic here, but it's relatable. So there was a commercial we were talking about called Quibi or something like that, and it's like these little videos, and I did not know that that commercial was in the Super Bowl until somebody in our class had told us. I forgot who it was. And now I see commercials and advertisements for it everywhere. And before, I didn't even know what it was. So for them to have that little commercial in that Super Bowl, I think was very successful for them. So back to this, all of these sponsors: State Farm Insurance, Bose headphones. Bose is really good for, they're well known for those headphones that the coaches use to communicate to players, to communicate to other people in the boxes above, people who aren't around. It's just very useful for them. You see a lot of Bose when they zoom in on the coaches. They've got those headphones on. You can really see that a lot. So they did really good for being a sponsor. Nike is known for their apparel. Everybody, if you see that check, you know what that means. It means just do it. It's just that Nike swoosh. It's very well known. Oakley. When I think of Oakley, I think of sunglasses. So when I was doing this project, it came very big surprise to me that I didn't even think. I knew that the football players had visors. I didn't even think that Oakley would be that sponsor for them. And so I was doing some research, found some really good pictures. They're incorporated on these slides. You can go back and look at them, but they're known for their visors, which makes sense because when you're playing, you don't want the reason why you didn't catch that ball is because the sun was in your eyes, or it's just really good to protect your eyes because it's what's going to be helpful for you during a game, trying to visualize who's open, who's not open, trying to visualize how to get around players, stuff like that. So it's very good, very useful that your eyes are protected. I'm just going to name the rest of these off. I'm not going to go too much into detail. Head & Shoulders, Hard Rock Stadium, Bud Light, and Amazon. So all of these kind of go hand in hand. We're going to talk a little bit about the commercial now. So Nike here, it says they got 45 minutes, 18 seconds of commercials. So 45 minutes, to me, seems like a long time for commercials, for just that one commercial. So that means they had a lot of money put into that, which, for them, they can afford. So that's very helpful for them. Nike is a very, very well-known brand. And then we have Bose headphones. They have about 3 minutes. So how do you go from 45 minutes of commercials to 3 minutes? It's a very big jump, I think. Let's go to the one that has the least minutes, Microsoft. Microsoft only has 1 minute and, let me get this correct, 25 seconds. That's not a lot of time. That's 1 whole minute. But I feel like I see Microsoft tablets all over the field. Whether they spend that much, and I think maybe that's why they don't really spend that much commercial time, because they're still getting their brand on the television, whether they're paying for a commercial or not. So just because they're not paying for the commercial doesn't mean you're not seeing that Microsoft brand. In the next slide, I have a couple good visuals of when you see the Microsoft tablets specifically, just because they're playing the game. They're not even playing a commercial. It's just during the game. They're getting that screen time. So I want to read this word for word. The reported price of a 30-second Super Bowl spot in this year's game rose to much as $5.6 million, okay? That's a lot of money for a 30-second commercial. So think about it. Listed here, Nike's the only one that had more than 30 minutes. Everyone else had 3 minutes, 2 minutes to 1 minute. 30 minutes, you pay $5.6 million. That's a lot of money for a commercial. It's just, that's why it's best just to, for other people, they think it's best just to have a couple minutes because it's a lot of money. So we're going to move on to the next slides. So we're going to discuss a little bit about how the message connects to the sport property. So when you're thinking of the message that your company and brand are trying to send out, how does it connect to the sport property? So we're going to go over sponsorship. Sponsorship, a relationship between a company and seeking to market a brand and a property in which the company pays in return access to the exploitable commercial potential. Okay, so basically you have a company that wants to seek a brand. They pay money for the rights to sponsor and so on. All right, so just to put it into smaller words. Next, we're gonna the sport property, of course, is a league, team, event, organization, stuff like that. Whether you're a casual fan or an avid fan, the sponsors have to figure out who the target audience is. They have to know how to capture the audience. Before you can figure out how to capture the audience, you got to know who your audience is. So you got to know if they're young, old, female, male. It's very important to know if the majority, for example, sports majority male. You know, you don't really, of course there's plenty of females out there that love sports, I'm not saying that, but majority is male. And then these sponsors really do go hand in hand with football. So they're connecting their brand to football. Okay, so you wouldn't think of it, but Oakley helmets. Oakley, you think of sunglasses, helmets, they have visors. Head and Shoulders, you think of shampoo. But after a long game, you need a reliable shampoo and conditioner, things like that. So successful visibility. The sponsorship spending on NFL has 32 teams exceed $1.47 billion in the 2019-2020 season. It's nearly 15,000 existing partnerships. That's a lot. That's all this information that I found was very surprising to me. I didn't think that there was that much money involved. Also, I didn't think there was that many partnerships involved. The most visible out of the sponsors that I listed were Bose headphones and the Microsoft Surface tablets. And of course, I discussed those earlier in depth. So we're just going to close out, and I just want to thank you all for, again, taking the time to listen to my presentation. Also, I just want to thank them again one more time, Courtney and Worth. They were very flexible, very helpful in this unorthodox process of giving our presentation. So thank you all so much.